Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed the weekend. Welcome to a brand new week opening edition of Notre Dame Daily, brought to you by Fan Arch. I'm Pete Mulroy, and out of the bye week with a 5-2 record, the Irish, who remain 12th in the latest edition of the AP Top 25 poll, learned the kickoff time for this Saturday's tilt in Chestnut Hill, set to face Boston College for the 28th edition of the Holy War this Saturday, November 1st. The Irish and the Eagles are going to begin the game at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with ESPN anchoring the coverage of this road game for Notre Dame. The Gold and Blue bring a couple of streaks into this one, including their current 5-game winning stretch after opening the season with losses to Miami and Texas A&M, the latter of whom looked outstanding, by the way, in a road beatdown of LSU this past weekend. In addition to their recent success on the gridiron, Notre Dame has also won the past 9 against the rival Eagles, including the vacated win in 2012. Those involved with both Catholic institutions certainly know the great histories in this rivalry, and while this year's edition may not have that pop, flair, or pizzazz from a ranked or win-loss perspective, given the struggles Bill O'Brien's BC group has gone through, it's still always special when these two programs meet. It's certainly been fun watching Notre Dame the past couple of weeks rattle off 5 straight wins, including a win over another fierce rival last week against USC. So you go back-to-back rivalry games off the bye week for Notre Dame, and it's always fun and special when these two clubs get together, regardless of the performance of one, if not both, when they meet. This Saturday is certainly going to be no different. You talk about this Boston College team, and speaking of streaks, right? The Eagles will enter Saturday on a different kind of stretch. Since winning their season opening contest against Fordham by a mark of 66-10, it was a beatdown. The Eagles have lost their past 7 games by an average of nearly 17 points. That downward run includes Saturday's 38-24 loss to number 19 Louisville in Kentucky. We knew that was going to be a tough game for BC. And as brutal as they've looked in big stretches the past couple of weeks, they did put up a solid fight against the Cardinals on the road. Senior quarterback Grayson James, who started his second straight contest over season opening quarterback Dylan Lonergan, the Alabama transfer. The Eagles trailed by only 7 points. You may know what I'm talking about here if you watch the game. They trailed by just 7 points with a little over 3 minutes to go. They had possession, elected to punt it back to Louisville down, where you're thinking perhaps O'Brien would elect to go for it. They punted away, and then what would happen? Basically summing up BC's season to this point, Louisville's Kawan Brown takes a handoff a couple plays later, back to the house from 67 yards out, less than 2 minutes to go, basically iced the game. In that loss, in which Boston College did show up and play well, James threw, but mostly well. James threw for 244 yards, 3 scores, but he did throw 2 interceptions, and certainly did his best to keep his side in the game, because they went into it as a 3.5 score underdog almost. So the monster odds were certainly against BC in this one. And now they're set to face an Irish defense that has been playing sound, collective, and physical football in recent weeks. So that challenge for James O'Brien and the Eagles is going to increase a couple coming this Saturday when they return home now with a 1-7 record. And speaking of quarterback play, yes, Grayson James, Lonergan had looked good in spots earlier for Boston College, who likes to go through the air. Notre Dame, even on an off week, getting love for their own quarterback, C.J. Carr. The first-year starting QB was added to the Manning Award watch list at the end of last week. You may have seen this. That's an award given annually to the nation's top signal caller, and it's well-deserved. This season, Carr's already over the 1,700-yard passing mark, 14 passing scores, 2 rushing touchdowns, 5th in all of America in passing yards per completion at 14.5. Carr's grown into the role with each passing week. I think we'd all agree there. And while there have undoubtedly been some growing pains along the way, as there generally are, the Michigan native clearly has command of the offense, incredible natural ability, and strong leadership skills. Plus, in addition to being 5th in the country in yards per completion, Carr's 8th in yards per pass attempt and 11th in pass efficiency. That's a big deal. Top 15 in those categories, top 10 in 2 of them as a freshman. It's pretty rare company. And in case you didn't already know it, statistically, he's one of the top freshman QBs in America and overall one of the best first-year players in the country. And by the way, those stats that I gave you, 5th in yards per completion, 8th per attempt, and 11th in pass efficiency. That's not in the country by freshmen. That's overall at the quarterback position. So pretty damn special. And while Carr did fail to eclipse the 200-yard passing mark in 2 of Notre Dame's past 3, those were wins over Boise State and USC last week, he's shown more than enough, and we all know it now, those who've watched him play, shown more than enough that he's the guy, right? Not to mention in those 2 games in which he threw for less than 200, the Irish run game hit that 200-yard mark, which always takes pressure off your quarterback. They certainly did that against USC, led by the 200-plus effort of Jeremiah Love and the theatrics of Jadarian Price. So, to no surprise here, well-deserved. Another great honor for the Irish quarterback, and it came on a bye week, which is always nice. And just to wrap today, some recruiting news. A major talent in the 27 class could very well eventually wind up in South Bend. Monson Sales, a 6'5", 205-pound 5-star who has been featured on NDD in past episodes, has included Notre Dame in his final list of 12 schools. An Indy native, the kid would certainly look good in Notre Dame gold and blue, and you would also think his arrival would give the future of the program another shining star at a major position. Depth and productivity at the wideout spot have undoubtedly grown under Marcus Freeman during his tenure as head coach, and the addition of a young man like Sales, who was in attendance, by the way, for ND's win over USC last weekend in South Bend, would be another step in stacking even more talent. The top wideout in the state of Indiana, that's big. We can't dismiss that. He's already posted nearly 800 yards on 35 grabs and 9 scores in the first 9 games of his junior campaign. But of course, with any top-flight recruit, there are no shortage of suitors. And in his final 12, and this was something that really was shortened from 30-plus schools and 25-plus offers that he had, you got Michigan, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Indiana, another home state school, LSU, Oregon, Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, Tennessee, and Missouri were the other 11 schools rounding out that top 12 along with Notre Dame. So Freeman and company are going to have their work cut out for them in luring Sales. But man, the fit is just absolutely outstanding, and it's certainly going to be something worthy of tracking as we continue to go in the world of recruiting. Right now, the 27 class for Notre Dame, a top 5 group as per 24/7. With that, I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday, and as always, go Irish.